In this WrestleTalk news, is an undisputed elite star not having his AEW contract renewed? An ex-NXT star is arrested again, and Pete's going to be here reviewing AEW Dynamite, so subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
So AEW has been a port in the storm for many wrestling talents over the last couple of years, with WWE doing its level best to give off cartoon evil corporation vibes by letting reams of staff go when there was pretty much nowhere else for them to go and work. AEW was there to sign them all up, keep them safe, and then use them to make lots of shows. It was also an opportunity for many talent who knew their worth to leave WWE while the getting was good, which is what Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly chose to do. Now, the third member of the Undisputed Elite and the former Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish, took a little longer swimming upstream, but he did eventually find his school in AEW. Too many fish puns. However, a new report from Fightful Select suggests that Fish might have flopped in AEW because Sean Ross Sapp posted to say that the current backstage chatter suggests that Bobby Fish might not be having his AEW contract renewed when it comes up. On a live show, Pre-Report Publishing, Sapp said that I kind of hope I'm not hearing the right thing, but the people that I have discussed this with, I had one person outright tell me, I know he's not getting renewed, just don't know when it's up. Now, the report went on to suggest that Fish's contract is believed to be up soon and is not currently planned to be renewed. Interestingly, none of the Undisputed Elite have been seen on AEW TV since August the 3rd. Now, updating on his Twitter for clarity, Sapp added, I want to make this clear, thus far, no idea when the decision was made. Over the last 10 days, Fish has worked indie bookings for the first time since last year, started a podcast, done interviews, and taken seminar bookings. Fish himself, meanwhile, has been talking up the leader of the opposition recently in all of his interviews, saying that he believes WWE under Triple H is pretty much guaranteed to be successful, and he would go to war for that man 7 days a week, which kind of makes sense because the Undisputed Era were the golden children of Triple H's NXT during the latter years, and it must surely be at the top of Triple H's tampering shopping list. So potentially not all doom and gloom for Fish if he does find himself chucked back into the unsigned talent pool then. Sticking with ex-NXT performers, the ongoing arrest drama surrounding the former Velveteen Dream, Patrick Clark, continues as Clark now finds himself incarcerated. To somewhat explain the timeline of events here, Clark was initially arrested for possession of drugs, concealing evidence and having no lights in his vehicle in November 2021, and eventually sentenced to 12 months probation in April 2022. Then in August this year, 4 months into his probationary period, Clark was arrested for trespassing on property following a warning and first-degree battery. On August 22nd this year, current WWE talent Tahuti Miles, Ashanti the Adonis of Hit Row, put up a $1,200 in bond money to bail Clark out of jail. Then on August 26th, Clark was arrested again due to a warrant being triggered because the August 20th arrest took place during his probation period from that November arrest previously. There's a lot going on here, and it is not good for Clark. Now, another controversial wrestling figure has also resurfaced and has been spotted in a training session with a number of current WWE talent. Matt Riddle posted a picture of himself training at the Daniel Gracie Orange County Gym along with Karrion Kross, Shinsuke Nakamura, NXT's Cameron Grimes, and Bodhi Hayward, and the inaugural Women of Honor champion Sumi Sakai. Amongst that group, though, was also Marty Scurll. The former Bullet Club member has been keeping a low profile since allegations emerged during the Speaking Out movement in 2020, in which he was accused of sexually assaulting an intoxicated 16-year-old girl in the UK. At the time, Scurll had shared a statement in response to the allegations, claiming that he believed the encounter was consensual, but Scurll's Ring of Honor departure was announced shortly after these allegations surfaced, and he hasn't been seen in mainstream wrestling for quite some time. Fans online were quite shocked, obviously, to see Scurll pop up in the picture, and this led to a not insignificant amount of heat on those seen training with him. Now, a similar backlash was faced by Santino Marella when he booked Scurll for a show back in July. Wrestling.
And now it's time for my review of the go-home edition of AEW Dynamite for All Out 2022 in about 5 minutes. Gonna apologize for the raspiness in my voice now. I am hungover. After the biggest talking point coming out of last week was Punk's squashed loss to Moxley, the show began with the next thread in this story, with Moxley coming out and running down Punk in his hometown of Chicago. It goes to show how over Moxley is that the crowd didn't immediately turn on him and still were like, yeah, you're insulting our boy, but also we love you. Mox revealed he has an open contract for his world title match at All Out, and he doesn't care who signs it, so he's just going to leave it in the ring. And then, maybe 2 minutes later, Ace Steel wandered out and picked it up. I'm not sure why several people weren't immediately flocking to the ring like it was a 24/7 title segment, because we see how ready people are to interfere in other stuff, but no one cares about a world title match on pay-per-view? Makes sense to me. This paid off later, when CM Punk came out to speak to the fans and thank them for their support and their love, but he's thinking now that that love might not be enough. His foot was fine, he's at 100%, but it's a new 100%, and maybe that's just not good enough. But out came Ace Steel, who had trained Punk since day one, and told him he can't quit, he can't give up in front of these fans. He's broken past every barrier and he slapped Punk, firing him up. Punk lit up and went into the crowd, going full babyface for the hometown fans, saying, "We are Chicago," and signing the contract for the match. Now, last week on the Dynamite podcast, most of us in the live chat and presenting agreed that while Punk vs. Mox last week was exciting and fresh and fun, if the plan still was for Punk vs. Mox at All Out, then it was a poor choice. Now though, having seen the story play out, I think it's an interesting wrinkle in Punk's story, and that's all it was meant to be. Mox won because Punk thought he'd injured himself, and now Punk has to overcome not only the shame of losing so fast, but also his new 100% that he's still coming to terms with. They've handicapped Punk, so he's the clear underdog going into the Moxley rematch, which I also think means Punk is absolutely winning on Sunday. Do I think this was the best potential use of the story they had from last week? No, not really, and I would have preferred if there were more time to let this story breathe so that Punk could have had a couple of weeks off, then tell the story of him not giving up after he comes back, giving room for something else to be done with Mox in the meantime, but I still think this is fine. I do think people will be upset Punk isn't turning heel though, unless he is, and this is all one big swerve. While the onus of whether this story was a good one was placed on this week's follow-up to last week's match, that buck has now been passed to All Out, where I think if Punk wins clean, this might not be the best story told, but if he gets desperate and cheats to win, or Mox wins and Punk spirals out of control, that is infinitely more interesting, I think. Well, I suppose I should talk about the rest of this show too, now that I'm halfway on my time. Bryan Danielson beat Jake Hager in a perfectly serviceable match, where after the match, Chris Jericho threatened to hit Danielson with a chair, and Daniel Garcia stopped him, which allowed Danielson to hit the knee on Jericho. Garcia had only just reaffirmed his allegiance to Jericho in a backstage segment, so I can't wait to see Garcia join Blackpool Combat Club after this week, especially because he's got an ROH Pure Championship match next week against Wheeler Yuta. The Wingmen were in the ring when they were interrupted by W. Morrissey, who beat them all up, and then took one of Stokely Hathaway's business cards. Tony Schiavone tried to ask him what these business cards mean, but Hathaway told him it's none of his business. I would also like to know where this is going, because Stokely sure has an eclectic group of people under his watch now, from Jade Cargill and the Baddies to W. Morrissey, Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page, the Ass Boys. It's certainly something. Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida beat Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter in a fun match next, where Shida got the pin on Baker, clean as anything, which was very nice to see. A good, fun match that put over the four competitors and made people look strong ahead of this weekend. Nothing to complain about here. Kip Sabian did a promo explaining the cardboard box thing, and I still don't get the cardboard box thing. He got an All-Atlantic title match against Pac at All Out, because what we needed were more matches for that show. Miro, Darby Allin, and Sting said they were going to beat House of Black. FTR and Wardlow squashed 3 guys, and then Andrade tried to buy the services of 10, who's injured. Eva Luna rejected the advances and was attacked, meaning he's also sidelined. Who could Silver and Reynolds possibly team with now they don't have a tag partner? Oh, hey. There's Hangman, who said he can be their partner if they need him. That final should be fun at All Out, eh? Another match at All Out is the Casino Ladder match with Claudio Castagnoli, Penta, Andrade El Idolo, The Joker, and Dante Martin, Roosh, Rey Fenix, and Wheeler Yuta, the last 4 of which had a really fun 4-way on this show. I'm happy Roosh is starting to get over because he's really good, and the match had a wonderful finish of Yuta rolling up Dante Martin in a super unique and creative pinning combination. Then we had the main event of United Empire versus the Elite, and this was delicious. From Kenny's introduction taking shots at Ospreay, to the intensity between the two of them, the next beating Kenny's story of his return from injury, of him not wearing the shoulder brace but still having the compression shirt, which Ospreay ripped off to reveal bandages on his shoulder and abdomen. Oh, and also the really good wrestling, this was a classic main event of Dynamite. At several points I thought it was over, but it kept going, with the great finish of Kenny and the Bucks hitting the Indie Taker on Ospreay to rule him out. Then a V-trigger into the One-Winged Angel on Carl Fletcher for the Elite to win, with Ospreay sitting on the ramp and seething. This Ospreay-Omega feud isn't over, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them go at it in the Tokyo Dome next January. A great end to a pretty good show, I think. There wasn't anything bad, the segments were all good to great, not much to complain about, and I'm curious on the direction of where Punk's story's going from here. This is a very good 4 out of 5 show by Dynamite's very lofty standards. Tempest and I will be doing all-out live reactions this Sunday, as well as reviewing this episode of Dynamite in full later today on the WrestleTalk podcast channel, so subscribe over there for that.
In this WrestleTalk news, WWE removes an anti-Sasha Banks sign, Triple H feuding with Tony Khan, the main roster invades NXT, and more.